DIIV is a four-piece rock band from Connecticut, brought to you by Zachary Cole Smith. Inspired by Nirvana and My Bloody Valentine, DIIV's cathartic grunge and shoegaze ecstasy purge the demons from your soul and detoxify your mind through Zachary's exploration of inner trauma. You're tuned into Roots to Grooves.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Roots to Grooves.
What's up, guys? I'm Jesse. Across from me is Jay Purcell, as you know.
Good to see you.
Like he said, it's Roots to Grooves.
Here every week, exploring a new artist every week, talking about their career, their music, their earliest beginnings, their approach to music,
How they get things done, yes.
How they get things done, where they're at now, or where they might not be at now, depending on who the artist is we're talking about. But
speaking of which, we got a little bit of a special choice today.
Yes.
Coming from one of our first listener mails.
Yeah.
Actually, you got the email. Why don't you take it, Jay?
Kyle Brown
wrote
in to our very special email address, rootstogrooves@signlradio.com, SIGNL radio.com.
Thanks for writing in.
Yeah, Carl, thanks, man. He said he's been listening to the shows for a while. Really likes the conversations that we have. Easy to listen to, apparently. We're easy to listen to, which is nice to hear. Not middle of the road, though, hopefully, but just easy listening.
Yeah.
And yeah, he said he wanted to mention this band for us this week, DIIV, which has a unique spelling. I think it's like, is it DIIV?
I think it's two. I think they spell all caps.
It's kind of like, it looks like Roman numerals, right?
Yeah, it almost looks like a 2 in there, but simply enough, it's DIIV.
Yeah.
I saw two things. It was either based off of They took that from the Nirvana song "DIIV."
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah.
or the spelling of the name was changed after they learned there was a Belgian industrial group
Yeah.
by the same name called DIIV.
Yeah, and the lead guy from DIIV, whose name is Zachary Cole Smith. I think he goes by Cole. I think.
Yeah, so that's the lead singer of DIIV, the band we're talking about today.
Yeah, he said he changed the spelling because out of respect for that band that were existing, not because they were trying to sue them or anything like that.
Yeah,
He
there's
said
no
so.
legal issues, just out of respect.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And they got even a cooler band name because it looks
Yeah.
more unique and it's pretty sweet.
And at a certain point, Cole said that the name doesn't really matter. Like, he doesn't really put too much importance on it. It's just kind of like, yeah. I mean, they had his original inspirations for it because of Nirvana and that song, and then the sound of the music he was creating. But he said ultimately, it's like, I don't care what the band's called. So that's also why he didn't really care too much to change the spelling, I guess. But
yeah, fair enough. I think. So let's talk about. Basically, we're talking about it's dream pop, it's indie rock, it's shoegaze.
Yeah.
Distorted guitars, kind of jangly guitars.
Yeah.
Surfy guitars. Some nice, just drums wailing in the background. Bass, kind of punky post-punk kind of bass.
Post-punk, yeah.
So yeah, you can hear kind of these influences from Nirvana to My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
Is I think a pretty big, consistent
Yeah.
influence for DIIV.
Yeah. And lush. I would say the word lush.
Yeah, lush.
To describe their sound a little bit.
Totally
Yeah.
textured.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, really kind of big wall of sound.
Yeah.
Type things. Shoegazing, like they're really jamming. There's vocals on most of this music, but it's very pushed back in the mix.
Yeah.
Like almost behind the guitars.
Right.
Which is a really kind of shoegazy thing, and it kind of is, a psychedelic type of production technique.
Yeah.
That kind of helps you draw into the texture and the music and everything.
Yeah.
Kind of envelops you a little bit more rather than having those crystal clear vocals right up front.
Right.
Super hot.
Yeah.
And just right up front, burning through everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could really just kind of fall into this music and just get really lost in this world that they create.
Yeah.
Really cool vibes. These guys got 3 albums out. They're kind of new, coming in, starting in like the early 2010s. And we said the name of the singer and the principal songwriter for the band, Zachary Cole Smith.
Yeah.
Right now, their iteration is they have Andrew Bailey. Actually, I'll say what their instruments are as well.
Yeah.
But we got Andrew Bailey, and he's been there for, I can't find my, Jay, help.
Well,
Where's my notes?
He's on guitar.
I'm on my wrong tab. That's why.
I have the names of the people who aren't in the band
Okay.
anymore and when they left, but I don't.
Okay.
I don't know when some of the current people joined. But
Right.
you know.
Yeah, my bad. We can cut that out, or we can we're along here with my aloof researching skills on the fly. But Andrew Bailey was there from the beginning.
Yeah.
He was on guitar. And then we also have Devin Rubin Perez was there for a while, up until like 2018, and he's gone now. And bass was taken over by Colin Caulfield. Let's see, Colby Hewitt was with the band until about 2015, and then he was on drums, and then they switched to a new drummer named Ben Newman. But yeah, basically it's a 4-piece right now.
Yeah.
Bass, drums, guitar,
Yeah.
vocals, shoegaze, loud, rock.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and if we want to take a step back.
Yeah,
to the
that's kind of the little overview
origins.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Talking about DIIV today. Let's dive on in to the horrible pun and get a little background, Jay.
Yeah. So I think they all knew each other. The original members, at least, knew each other from high school. I think it sounds like, but also I think that Cole was only in that school for like a little bit before being kicked out, like literally 2 weeks or something. I heard them say, or something like
Cole's
that.
a little bit. He's experienced some trouble.
Yeah, he's
in his life a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in his early years, that back then when he was a teenager, he said he didn't even remember how he got kicked out of school, and I think it was Andrew Bailey that said, just for being a dick, right? Or something
Just
like
generally
that. Just
being a
generally
dick.
being a dick. And so he because did we say they're from Brooklyn? Didn't say they're
Nope,
from Brooklyn.
we're just the horrible
yeah.
podcasters that we are.
Right, so they're from Brooklyn, and they were going to school there, and so when Cole got kicked out, he went to some private school in Manhattan, which kind of sounds a little bit swanky to me.
A little bougie.
I don't know, yeah. He said it was a really small school with only like 20 kids in the entire school, so each class would have like people from different levels, like 8th grade, 10th grade, sort of thing.
What was the deal? That's like a private school and it's expensive and...
Yeah, and I think it's it's a special school for people that had troubles.
Are generally dicks.
Yeah, generally had problems in their previous schooling, so they need a little bit more attention, which I guess is kind of cool if you think about it. Like, they realize that these kids are not thriving in the traditional high school sense, so they need a little bit more attention and focus.
Yeah, just obviously, style.
Obviously it's private, so his parents had to pay for that. This extra attention sort of thing. It's called Beekman School, by the way, in Manhattan. And but yeah, he met the other guys like in his first school in Connecticut, St. Luke's in Connecticut. So that's where they're from. And then just sort of stayed in touch with them. It seems like, yeah.
I mean, Zachary was Mr. Smith. What are we calling him, Cole or Zachary?
I think he goes by Cole in one interview I read. So I'm saying that, but if
I just realized that.
We can call him whatever.
Let us know what he goes by on the streets.
Yeah.
But Mr. Zachary Cole Smith, born in New York, raised in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And so he started playing guitar as a young boy, and I think he joined a few bands during his school years. Kind of questioning, kind of saying that ironically.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's what he did.
Right. I didn't see this.
That's all I know. I guess he was with a psych rock band called Black, Soft Black.
Okay, yeah.
And so he played with them. And then he also played with Beach Fossils for a little bit too. I don't know if I'm skipping too much ahead.
Yeah, no. So I think this is why how our listener Kyle mentioned it. He said he thought that we'd mentioned them before.
Yeah, and we did do an episode on Beach Fossils.
We definitely did, and I'm sort of recalling now in my mind, because didn't Zachary play drums for Beach Fossils?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I kind of vaguely remember him being in the band and leaving and doing his own thing. It's kind of like the guy from Pond. He played drums with Tame Impala, right? Live.
Right.
And went off and did his own thing.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Frontman, similar situation. The Dave Grohl thing, like going from the drums to the front of the stage.
To being the principal songwriter,
yeah.
frontman of your band.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so he went on to form DIIV in 2011.
Yeah.
And he wrote the first 2 singles, I think, that came out where he recorded them and wrote them all by himself.
Yeah, he said it sort of came about just at home. He said he was writing these songs in his bedroom, no internet connection.
And yeah, he didn't even know if it was ever going to see the light of day outside of his room. He just wanted to start this project for his own kind of cathartic expression.
Yeah.
And then he got his buddies and these people who he knew from school days from before to start a band.
Yeah.
For the live band at least, and they became legitimate band members.
But for the recording, the first album is called Oshin, 2012. He said, like, when he was writing and recording them at home, he said all the song titles would just have the date and then a short word describing it. And then so he could like look back and be like, oh yeah, he remembered what it sounded like just from that, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
But yeah, I think it was, I think he did re-record this album, right? Properly, like from the demos. He had the demos and then he went off.
And then I think they re-record them because I'm guessing, I'm trying to put these things together based on the information available on the internet.
Yeah.
Obviously that's what we do. So I don't know how he got signed, but he got signed to Captured Tracks record label in 2011.
Which is the label that Beach Fossils were on. So
okay, so
that's the connection.
Right, that makes sense. I'm not, obviously that he knew somebody. Yeah. I'm guessing there's some kind of connection there, and they wanted to help each other out. So, which is cool.
Yeah.
All the more reason to get networking and just be in a band, and that could lead to more things later.
And I think it was because when the release came out, it was 2011. He dropped a single called Human, and then a single called Sometime as well. And I think it was the way it worked. It was he showed those 2 songs to Captured Tracks, and they decided to put them out. And then based off of that, they I think later decided to put out the full album.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So they signed there. They released Human and Sometime. Both of them were demos that he recorded on his own. And there was a song called Geist. And also, I think that was the third single from that album.
Yeah, I think so.
From Oshin. And that came out in 2012, yes?
Yes.
Oshin. So let's play a track from Oshin.
Yeah. So we started out.
I think I got one lined up for you.
We started out with Sometime, which was the second single. And then, you picked out this track, Doused.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Here we go. Doused.
Yeah.
I like my driving music like that. Driving rock music. I want to do this dance to it.
I know, just makes you want to get up and move. Yeah. But yeah, driving energy.
Stomping head down kind of in the mosh pit.
I know. We just got to be in the dark in a mosh pit, just jumping. Yeah. No vocals, just instrumentals, just jamming.
Yeah.
So good. So, I mean, very intoxicating atmosphere throughout this whole album, Oshin.
Yeah.
From 2012.
And Zachary played every instrument on it, which is crazy.
That was all him, yeah?
Yeah. He only had one collaborator in the studio. It was the engineer, producer, Daniel Schlett, who has a crazy, diverse number of people he's worked with. I think probably not just as a producer, but as an engineer. Mm-hmm. Ghostface Killer
Okay.
Theo Crocker. Have you heard of him?
No.
We should do an episode on Theo Crocker, I think.
Nice. I'd love to.
And the War on Drugs.
Nice.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of other stuff, but yeah, he was running the board, the studio, Strange Weather Studios, which is in Brooklyn, which is kind of funny because I just looked them up and they said they've gone through a lot of incarnations and they moved into their current space in Williamsburg, Brooklyn in late 2012. So this album was recorded at an older incarnation.
Gotcha.
Of Strange Weather, but it's good that they're
Even
a
more
studio that keeps going in this climate of trying to keep music studios going.
Yeah, I love it. Good going.
Yeah.
Keep it up. So yeah, we're talking about Oshin, the DIIV album of 2012. It's it's carefree, it's sweet, it's well written. Yeah. It's pretty shoegazy. Twanging guitars. It's pretty repetitive, so it's kind of hypnotic. Dreamy rock, the buried vocals like we were talking about, reverby, atmosphere, but good, like we heard in that song DIIV's good lead guitar lines that are pretty catchy but pretty simple. I mean that's basically what I got on this. It's a really good album all the way through, and especially really good for being their debut album. And
sort of three diverse influences I think that went through him in creating this music. You mentioned krautrock, the genre of German kind of rock music.
Right.
And Nirvana, of course, because Cobain is one of his sort of heavy inspirations, I think, like throughout just being a musician and everything like that.
He was inspired by the heavy drug use.
Well, we'll get onto that in a bit.
I'm just kidding. Maybe that was a low blow.
Yeah.
No, I'm not throwing shade.
No, it's okay.
I support everybody.
The third influence that kind of surprised me a little bit was he mentioned world music, and specifically these Malayan, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, basically guitar music from Mali.
Yeah, right. I had to look that up too.
Yeah.
It's a country.
Yeah, and Malayan. There you go. Got
it's
my pronunciation right.
African in the northwestern African.
Yeah, and it's funny, I actually mentioned, I think a couple of episodes back, that Damon Albarn did an album called Mali Music.
Oh, that's the spot he was visiting too?
Yeah, where he worked with a lot of those.
I remember he would
from there, yeah.
He would go back there a lot of times, right?
Yeah, and he did a really great album, which is worth checking out. Mali Music.
Cool stuff going on in Mali as far as music goes.
Yeah, and there was this one artist that Zachary mentioned called Baba Salah, and specifically he did an album called Boré, and it was that album specifically that he really influenced Zachary on kind of the guitar work and that, which is interesting because you wouldn't place it, but if you think about that track we just played, Douse, and the way that guitar is going, and then you listen to some Malayan guitar music, you could see the parallels a little bit.
Right. I'm gonna have to listen to that album.
Yeah.
All the way through,
Definitely, yeah. The cover artwork is by a guy called Kayak Shook. Is that right?
I don't know.
Kayak Shook.
I can't say anything about the pronunciation, but it sounds right to me.
Apparently, it was a print that already existed. He liked the look of it. He felt it connected the natural world and the spirit world, and he felt that seems just really wise. We have a picture of the album on the screen right now. If you're looking at it, it's black and white. There's some color waves in the background a little bit. Is it like a bird, an abstract bird or something like that? It's
it could be. Yeah, could be interpreted that way.
There you go. I mean, yeah.
Interpreted? No, but it does look like a bird. Yeah. It is somewhat abstract, but it's kind of like one of those things that the doctor shows you, and it's like a blotch of paint, and it's like, what do you
see?
Yeah. So I think it's meant to be a little bit ambiguous, but it is cool because it draws in your attention with its kind of, the simplicity and the contrast between the shapes and then the kind of white background. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. I dig it.
Yeah, and so at this point, he'd recorded the album Oshin, and put it out. And I think maybe, I'm not sure if it was before they released the album or as they were doing it, that he approached his childhood buddies to form the live band, right? To get together and do that stuff.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think I know. So Andrew Bailey, he said he was playing with a band called Shilpa Ray. I haven't heard of them. Have you heard of Shilpa Ray?
I've not.
We'll have to check those out. And he was like on the road with them and touring, and then basically they got back home and it kind of fizzled away, and he thought he wasn't going to do music anymore. And then Zachary called him up and was like, I got this project. And then Zachary found out that Shilpa Ray had disbanded, and then it was just like, no brainer. Okay, let's get together. Let's do this.
To be.
Yeah. And
the stars aligned.
And then Perez, who was not anymore, right?
He's gone.
Yeah, Devin Rubin Perez, original bass player.
Yeah, all the way. He played until 2018 or so.
Right. Yeah. He like had never been in a band before, but obviously played, and Zachary knew he played, and yeah, he said he didn't really know why he said yes to join the band, because he said he'd been asked a lot of times by different people to do something, and he always said no. But this time he decided to say yes. But apparently, before he said yes, he's very into Chinese astrology, and he asked Zachary for his star sign, and like basically read his chart and all that and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, yeah, then I'll be in the band.
And he said, yeah?
Yeah. And apparently, so Zachary's Scorpio, and Perez said every member of the band was a water sign. So, which kind of like with the name DIIV as well was a little bit of interesting.
I mean, it sounds like just from this research, there's a few synchronicities happening.
Yeah.
That are kind of, like I said, the stars aligned for DIIV.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
The Chinese zodiac.
And it had to align for Perez as well. I think he said he was just a skateboarder or something, and one of the other guys was
he was just a skateboarder.
Yeah,
joined a band. Rest is history.
And then then they got together. Those three, was it just three other guys, and Colby Hewitt was on drums as well at that point. So they got together, started doing this album live, right? And went on tour. Do we know much about their touring history or?
No, I think they just played a bunch of clubs.
Yeah.
Around the U.S.
Oh yeah, that was what I heard. So in New York, they just did a shit ton of shows every night of the week, almost.
In Brooklyn, or just New York in general?
All over New York, yeah, and Brooklyn a lot.
So just kind of a localized tour.
Yeah. And they said sometimes they'd do two shows in one night and stuff like that. So they kind of like came out of the gate just thinking, we got this album, we rehearsed it, we're going to play it live. And and I haven't heard this. We've talked a lot before about bands that go on tour and how big important touring is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to hear how they just really hit like every venue they could play at in New York really super hard. And, they said they weren't picky. They were just saying yes to anything. And if anything they got offered, any opportunity, they just go and play the show sort of thing.
I think that's one thing we keep seeing through all these different types of bands and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they just, let's go play live.
Yeah.
Let's get out there. Doesn't matter if there's people in the audience or not, or if it's a big venue or small venue.
Yeah.
They just go out and play.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah.
Seems like that's all I got to say. I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny though, because I've been I felt like kind of a little bit jaded about the Seattle live scene lately, especially through, COVID. It's happened to everyone everywhere, but but I guess the difference between Seattle and New York is like massive, and there's way more places, there's way more opportunities to play. I mean, it's been the birth scene of multiple genres and scenes and throughout culture and history of America, right? So
it's a cultural hub.
Yeah. Whereas Seattle, like, I can name 5 venues or something, and then you have to go outside into more of the rural areas or whatever. And I don't see I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm being too jaded, but I don't see the value. I see the value in hitting the scene locally in New York and doing that. I don't see the value in doing it in somewhere so small as Seattle. But maybe I'm just being jaded. I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
No, I think... No, I don't know. It's hard to say, especially in a place where like there was a solid music scene during the 90s in Seattle, and it was like people say at least it was thriving, and it was.
But a lot of that's gone away, though, is the problem. Like all those venues that Nirvana played at, half of them have gone.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. It's kind of like it was awesome, and there's like a legacy and like legendary stories and stuff surrounding Seattle. But then it's kind of waned away since that grunge has kind of been dying ever since. And I mean, there's still rock and grunge still being made. But it's not at the top of the pop, like.
Which is funny for Seattle, because it's funny that we're talking about this now, because Nirvana being a big influence on Zachary,
right,
and us being here and having a bit of insight into the scene, like, what was I saying? Train of thought. I mean, people from outside Seattle still see Seattle as the place of grunge, and a lot of people have moved here because of that, and a lot of people visit here because of that, like, but now, like, it's hard to go find that music playing. Like, I mean, live music in general is waning everywhere, I think, but in Seattle, like for example, we're in Pioneer Square, and we've played the Central Saloon, big venue down here. Just Nirvana played there as well. But I've heard stories about that street, just literally around the corner from here, First Avenue, was it was kind of like the French Quarter in New Orleans. It was like the old part of town, and there was just music club after music club. There was like grunge music. Across the street, there was a jazz club or blues club. Now, there's just the Central. They're still doing good music though. They still play, put on shows all the time now,
they get a good stage.
But
in general, the scene is kind of dissipated.
There isn't this neighborhood now is not. It's nothing going on here for music. Apart from Central,
it's a shell of what it used to be. Which is kind of sad. So I mean, to your point, I don't know what's going on in Seattle. There's not much of there's not a general vibe of like a scene happening.
No,
like people don't feel like they're part of something happening in Seattle specifically.
No,
even though there's still a lot of great artists and stuff around.
I mean, most of my exposure has been to, well, kind of like the hip hop and R&B scene that's happening here, which seems to be thriving. There's a lot of artists like out here. Like we played shows with DIIV, and Campana's another guy out here. Like there's a few people we know, or I've known, like through us playing with Dave Chenet and that. There's a bit of a scene going on around that, but it's still.
It's kind of an underground vibe.
It's underground, which is cool. Which is like how good scenes come about. I think.
Then grassroots.
Then there's also still like the only other side of live music I've seen here has been kind of, I guess, shoegazy, more of like the goth sort of scene a little bit. There's a lot of that going on out here in pockets, but it's not really. Doesn't seem to be. Some of it is original, but some of it is just seems to be treading old ground and. Playing Duran covers or something like that. It's like, But anyway,
I don't know. I mean, to your point, I think it'd be where it's still worth it for bands to play in Seattle is for their own experience. To acquire their own experience playing live. Know what equipment you want to have. Know how it feels to be on stage. Know how it feels to be in front of an audience that is non-existent. Know how it feels to play to an empty room. And all this is like stuff that you need to have as an artist to be a successful touring musician.
Well, there's the value then. I think, you've gotten me a little less jaded now.
That's what I'm saying. We got to do it for, if you can, to share your music, you got to be able to do it yourself. You got to be able to perform it and have that experience. So I think there's still some value in playing clubs, even if there's nobody there.
I think that's what DIIV are doing, like, as well. So this is the key thing you just said to me, that like, okay, it's doing for the experience of doing it. Like if you're playing night after night, you get used to playing the songs. You get to feel like, I think they even said this, like DIIV, like you get to feel like what it's like to be on tour, but in your own city kind of thing. Because you're schlepping the gear, you're doing the shows, you're playing, you're just working everything out on stage, the whole workflow, everything like that.
Right.
It's invaluable.
And if you do it right, if you're filming your content, was what we should all be doing in this age of video. That's plenty of content for you to just be posting as stories and photos, and it's all photo opportunity. So take the value when you can.
Definitely.
But anyway, back to DIIV.
Back to DIIV.
All right, so we got through their first album,
Yeah.
Good, critical acclaim.
Yeah.
I think it charted.
Yeah, I think so. Did some stuff.
I don't remember. Maybe it was like 37 or something, but I'm just making that up.
And on the number 37 on the Billboard.
I think
something.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
right.
Exactly. So yeah, then we talked a little bit about their touring stuff, and then they go on.
Yeah.
I mean, talk to me about Mr. Cole Smith, and was he having any issues in between these two albums outside of music?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I read about.
But we don't have to go too into it because that's not the focus of what we're talking about. But he was just
he got he developed a heroin addiction at a certain point.
Mm-hmm. And sometime in between the first and second album, he went to rehab, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it was rehab. Yeah, and although some of the articles I read, it sounded like it might have been a hospital for mental illnesses, but I might be wrong on that. It's just the way it was described in something I saw. So he did realize he had an issue and is trying to figure it out, but he kind of he made this comment. Let me see if I can dig it up about drug addiction. Well, he said a few things about it. One thing he said is drugs is a door you can never close once it's open. If a person isn't feeling you're being honest with them or their love, then they can be gone. And he was referencing that to his girlfriend, Sky. Is it Ferrara? I think is her last name. Sky Ferreira.
Okay.
Something like that.
I think that sounds right.
She, I think, is a model. I think she does music as well, and she's featured on a track that I want to play in a little bit from this album. And they were in a relationship, and they actually at one point got arrested because he was driving around in an unlicensed van with cocaine and heroin in it. They got arrested. She got let off because she wasn't on drugs and it wasn't her stuff. And
they were on their way to a show.
I think so, yeah. And it was before the second album had been written or anything like that. He got arrested and was charged and all this sort of stuff. He later said that that was totally his fault, that situation. He kind of felt like he fucked her over a little bit in that situation. But it was because he was having these struggles with addiction himself and not really making correct mental decisions when you're in that state, sort of thing. Yeah. And I think like at a certain point, like he basically held himself up in a house, strung out on heroin as he was trying to write material for the second album. And like it's crazy. And he apparently though wrote a lot of songs. He wrote 150 new songs.
Right. Yeah. So he was kind of on a streak.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a kind of a dynamic time, like kind of a low point.
Yeah.
But sometimes for these struggling artists, the low point is their high point of artistic creativity. Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes that hits the sweet spot.
Yeah. And he said that all of the band members have had issues with drugs. And he's like not sure.
I mean, it was around the same time Colby Hewitt left the band.
Yeah.
In 2015 due to drug problems. And
Zachary wasn't sure what effect this had on the writing. But he's definitely said it had an effect on shows. Like I think they cancelled the rest of a tour before he went into hospital, into rehab and stuff like that. And he's also said like about that, he said being clean now for him is not doing heroin. Like he said he'll still go to a bar and drown his sorrows, he'll still smoke weed, and he said he thinks some people won't realize that or understand that if you're trying to be clean, like, but he said for him it's just not doing heroin. If you can just not do that, then he'll be good, like, which is whatever you need.
Sure.
Right? Yeah I think we've talked to a few artists about this.
My bad.
Oh man, I can't remember his name. We'll have to dig it up. But it was that solo artist who had a band name. It wasn't Beach Fossils. Maybe it was a different guy. Waves, was it? With that guy that he sort of goes back and forth between like crazy drinking a lot of times and then wanting to go meditate and then coming back to the party scene. I'm not sure which artist is. We'll have to
Maybe
look
not
that up,
waves.
but-
I'm not sure.
Yeah, damn it. Man, this has been 50 something episodes, so it's like hard to. We need a little
Yeah.
keyword search.
No,
or
I know.
something.
I know. Yeah, exactly. We do.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's something that's there with music, right? And yeah, like you said, it's kind of weird that Cobain was someone he looked up to, and he ends up sort of following a similar path in terms of the drug use kind of
Yeah.
thing. But like, yeah.
I don't know what is about that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
People romanticize these rock stars who are extremely unhealthy
Yeah.
and like romanticize it. And I don't know, like they
Yeah,
bring it
yeah,
into
yeah.
their own life.
Like there's a word for that, isn't it? Rockstar chic or something. Where you look strung out.
Yeah, you look like you haven't eaten.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you got your tight leather pants on.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a look. You're malnourished.
Right. Yeah.
It
is.
Your hair's greasy.
I mean, there was a time, I think in the 90s, where that look was like,
like you're a
popularized or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was glamorized.
Yeah, glamorized.
But yeah, so like kind of issues in the band.
Yeah.
A little bit of rough times. They're just, they're going through it, They're young people, influenced by all this crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. And they're just taking care of themselves. They're trying to make art.
Yeah.
A lot of swirling stuff happening.
Yeah.
Nobody could, tell these people what to do and how to be in control.
Yeah.
I don't know the true story of how he was feeling and stuff like that, but all this is happening. He wrote 150 songs. Then what happened? They put together another album. Is R? Is R is the name of the album. Yeah, 2016. Eventually came out one way or another on Strange Weather Recording, or it was recorded at Strange Weather Recording Studios in Brooklyn.
And like we said, the drummer Colby Hewitt left because of his rumored drug addiction. Although I think it might have been the other guy that said that wasn't true. I think it might have been Perez that said it wasn't true. Something like that. I'm not sure what happened.
Right.
But then Ben Newman stepped in for drums. And so I have to fact check myself now, because apparently Ben Newman did play on a couple of tracks on the first album, on the recording.
Oh, okay.
Including Doused, which we played. So fact checked.
That's all right.
There. But so he came back and stepped in full time to do the drums on this album. And I mean, it's a great album. It's
I think no, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I just think they stepped it up a notch as far as production, at least.
Yeah.
Just the mixing is better, the production is better.
Yeah.
Let's give everybody a vibe. Let's listen along with everybody and let's play a track.
Yeah.
We got one loaded up from Is R.
Yes.
If we sound like we're having a stroke, it's because it's just a weird album title.
I want to play this track, Blue Boredom, which features Zachary's girlfriend Sky Ferreira. Boredom from Is the Izar.
Yes. Am I saying that right? Yeah. So this album, 2016. I think their sound deepened and kind of broadened.
Yeah.
It's versatile. Like I said, the production's better, the mix is better. The bass is a little more present, especially on those songs like that cool driving kind of post-punk bass.
Yeah.
But yeah, the general vibe, it's hypnotic. The songs are kind of linear. They move in kind of that formulaic. Is that anyway? Words.
Formulaic.
I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, how they just kind of move and drone along and take you with it.
Yeah.
Like it's like a cloud taking you somewhere.
Yeah.
But the lead guitars are good. Better. Nice little short guitar passages throughout.
Yeah.
And then the lyrics are also pretty deep and heavy because he's going through these heroin addiction phases. So a lot of the lyrics are about that too.
Yeah.
So I mean, just kind of a general higher value on this album, I would say. It's just they got better at everything that they were trying to do.
And I think there's some confusion for me on who played what on this because there was a comment from an article around this time saying that basically he went back into the studio with the same engineer as the first album, Daniel Schlett. And they said over a 3-week period, he recorded 19 songs painstakingly, they said, with Cole playing and producing everything. So that was said, but also what was said is Zachary said he definitely has a lot of weird memories about that time.
I'm sure he does.
He said he was doing a lot of drugs. He was in a weird zone mentally. It's hard to make sense of anything being so far out on drugs, he said. He also said he was making a lot of video art at that time, which is basically like, he said there's a lot of footage that he was taking at that time.
What, he was on Vine or what?
No, I think he just had a camera. He was just running around doing shit. And he said he's looked back at that stuff and he's like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on there?
I mean, he was on drugs.
I know,
everyone.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Don't do drugs, kids.
He was listening to an album from Sonic Youth called Bad Moon Rising, which came out in 1985. He said he just listened to that over and over and over again as he was making this album. So it's definitely was a heavy influence for him. And they said that track that we just played was kind of like similar to that album, I think. So I haven't heard that album, but I'm gonna have to go check it out now. I know of Sonic Youth, but I haven't really heard dive in too much to their stuff. Yeah.
Same.
Classic band. Though.
But that song that we played, what was the song name that we just played?
Blue Boredom.
Yeah, with that the girl, the female vocals on there. It sounds really good.
Yeah.
That post-punk woman vocal.
Yeah.
And the vocal style where they're kind of like lightly speaking, and it's again this kind of shoegaze type of mix. Yeah. It was a little reminiscent of Courtney Barnett, who we've talked about.
Also reminds me of that UK band with the lady that talks.
Oh, Dry Cleaning.
Dry Cleaning.
Yeah, another good one.
Yeah.
Totally. So yeah, similar issue vibes.
Yeah.
But these guys are a little heavier, a little bit more hypnotic and vibey, spacey.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
So kind of dream poppy, jangle poppy, post punky on this album. Good stuff. I might dare to say start here.
Yeah.
They've got 3 good albums. You could just go 1, 2, 3, listen in order.
Yeah, this is a good one though, definitely. And also he said he poured his heart and soul into it. He said it was too important for him to throw away any of those songs. And
yeah, I feel like it's heartfelt, coming from deep places of emotion that he's experiencing over these couple of years.
Yeah.
So valuable content.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Check it out.
So what next? More problems.
I didn't get that far in what was going on in their lives, unfortunately, after that point. But
no,
you said there were more problems.
Yeah, I mean,
well, Perez already left the band. I think so. It was during this period because it was 2014. Apparently, they discovered that he was making misogynist, racist, and homophobic comments on 4chan, on a message board.
Yeah.
And it was during this album, as they were putting it together, that they were discussing about his future in the band, and they ultimately decided that he needed to go because that shit was not cool.
Yeah.
That he was saying. That I didn't see any of it, but maybe those guys from the band saw what he was writing.
Yeah, just some comments.
And just like, nah. Yeah.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
It sounds like some gross stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't want any of that
Exactly. Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
So he got canceled. They canceled him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Not sorry.
And who
Bye.
stepped in to replace him? Colin Caulfield, I think, took over bass duties, right?
I think so, yeah.
He's also a multi-instrumentalist, this guy, though. Plays keys, guitar, does some vocals as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he did a few different things in the band.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome. But where was I? Oh,
Deceiver, 2019, the third album.
Yeah. And did Cole Smith go back to rehab during this period as well, in between? I think maybe he did, but it's okay.
Yeah. He said he finally accepted what it means to go through treatment,
Right.
and committed to it.
Yeah, I think I remember him saying the first time he went, he didn't really take it seriously and didn't try to get the value out of it of like actually getting better and recovering.
Yeah.
He didn't really take it seriously. As this process shows, he still had problems with drugs.
Yeah.
So he went back, but he had a better mindset and he actually tried to recover.
Yeah.
And I think that helped a lot. He just had a more, intention behind his movements.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. But they wrote another album.
Yeah.
Now they're a 4-piece without Devin.
Yeah.
But they went on tour with Deaf Haven in the fall of 2018. But yeah, Sonny DePerry.
Mm-hmm.
They worked with him on this album.
Don't know who that is.
He worked with My Bloody Valentine, who's a huge influence on DIIV, and then he also worked with 9 Inch Nails. Okay. So huge bands.
He's a producer, right?
Yes, he's the producer, I believe, and he worked on this album in Los Angeles. This was in March 2019.
Yeah.
They announced that they would release this album on their Instagram account.
Oh. Okay.
And yeah, I think that same day Pitchfork announced their album. Anyway, they come out with this album called Deceiver, and it's kind of heavier, it's grittier, still kind of shoegaze, but almost more post-hardcore vibes. Mm-hmm. Like a little bit kind of a brighter, more post-hardcore rock sound rather than like they're moving a little bit away from shoegaze. Mm-hmm. So trying a little bit of a different direction. I mean, you could even say it's kind of a drastic direction.
Well, because I do know they talked about it being the first time that they really made it a collaborative effort in the writing process.
Yes, right? I think, other bands or other members of the band were bringing ideas.
Bringing in demos, contributing to the songwriting process for every song. That's what Cole said.
Yeah, which is cool. And then they were just concentrating on, they would talk about the parts and what would be best for the song, everything about serving the song. Yeah. Not about individual... solos or anything like that.
Yeah, let me see what he said. Colin said, the new member, Colin Caulfield, explained about the writing process. He said, Cole and I approached writing vocal melodies the same way the band approached the instrumentals. We threw ideas at the wall for months on end, slowly making sense of everything. It was a constant conversation about the parts we liked best versus which of them served the album best.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, so that wraps that up nicely.
Yeah.
So just darker, heavier production on this. Let's listen along with the vibe. I got a song pulled up. We're going to play, or I got to look at it.
Is it Blankenship?
Blankenship, yeah.
Blankenship.
So this song just kind of rocks.
Okay.
It's great.
Yeah.
And let's vibe out to it.
Choose to buy, don't
Yeah, that was solid. I like that.
Yeah.
Blankenship from Deceiver, from DIIV,
Yes.
third album.
So keeping with that kind of driving energy,
Yeah,
but with a little bit more of a different vibe.
there was a great thing, kind of along the lines to how you were describing it, from NME, a reviewer, a guy called Jordan Bassett. He wrote, where its predecessor was airy and spaced out, Deceiver packed some seriously heavy riffs, sliding between monster rockers and moon-eyed grunge ballads.
Yeah, there we go.
That wouldn't be too out of place on an early Smashing Pumpkins record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good way to
Yeah.
put it. I was going to
Yeah.
say that
Yeah.
some of their music reminds me of Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah. Cole said about this as well. He said, the record is universal. Some lyrics follow the Kurt Cobain model based on syntax and content. Sometimes it's about what sounds best. So he's kind of like inspired there. Syntax and context.
Yeah.
Is a way to put that, which is kind of interesting. And also sort of uncredited on here, at least in terms of like credits on Spotify and all that.
Mm-hmm.
His girlfriend Sky is on the album as well. I think you could kind of hear it in that track. She's doing some backing vocals.
Yeah.
I was looking her up. Apparently she's acted as well. She was in Elvis and Nixon. You ever see that movie?
No,
It was a good movie. Do you ever see Baby Driver?
I did.
She played his mum in a flashback, I think.
Okay.
And she's also was in the Twin Peaks remake in 2017.
Okay. So she's
I've,
things.
I've definitely seen her in
Yeah.
movies and not known.
So she's killing it pretty good then.
Yeah.
Good for her.
And she does music as well herself, I think.
What a gal.
Yeah, she's supported Miley Cyrus and Blondie
Hey.
and Vampire Weekend. So I know those names, I think.
I've heard of those names. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's basically all I got on DIIV. That came out in 2019. That's their latest
yeah.
LP. I think it's their latest release.
In 2020, he put out self-released, so I'm not sure where. I didn't see where he put this, but he put out some demos from the second album, Is the R. So I'm not sure if those were the demos he originally recorded when he was strung out on heroin in the house as he was writing or not. I would hazard to say yes, because it's demos. So
Yeah, no, sounds like that, which would be cool.
yeah, be an interesting atmospherical dive in of that or something like that.
Nice.
But yeah, so we don't know what else is yet to come, but it's 2022 now, so
Yeah, it's been a couple years.
yeah. Is he doing well now? Do you know if the drugs situation with the band and all that? Do we know?
No. I hope.
We hope you're doing well, man.
Hope you're doing good.
Write in if you like. Say hello.
Yeah, we like your music. We like you. Let us know what you're thinking about.
And also, I have to say, if you like this music, you should check out who we were listening to earlier, Kite Vendor.
Yeah, so that is...
Which is basically the artist that wrote into us, Kyle Brown, a.k.a. Kite Vendor.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle.
Sent us the suggestion, and your music's really good as well, so we'll put that up on screen right now.
Boom, check this guy out.
Check him out on Spotify.
We listen to...
Hopefully he's the right one, and it's not someone
Hey,
else
let us
we
know,
listen to.
Kyle.
Let us correct
know,
us.
and we'll shout you out again.
Yeah.
But we were listening to this stuff before
we recorded, yeah.
And it was good. We listened to
and he's
like
got
3 or 4 songs.
zero streams on Spotify right now. So.
It didn't show the amount of. It didn't show the amount, so I don't know what that means. But let's give him some streams.
Give him some streams,
We're streaming
guys.
it today, and it's good stuff.
Yeah,
Kind of beachy, kind of surfy.
Yeah, I think if you like, similar bands like Beach Fossils, Dry Cleaning,
Yeah,
DIIV.
Yeah, kind of post punk, beachy
Kind of.
surf
Yeah. Kite Vendor
guitar.
is doing it.
Yeah. So check out Kite Vendor, super good stuff.
Yeah.
And thanks, Kyle, for writing in. We appreciate you listening.
Yeah.
We're always happy to be learning and growing with each other.
Yeah.
That's all I got on DIIV.
Yes.
If you guys got anything else, let us know. We're going to play out with a song Jay's loading up right now.
Yeah.
And he'll let us know. But if there's, if you want to write in like Kyle did, let us know. Jay, what's that email?
Roots to Grooves at signalradio.com, SIGNL radio.com. Also, you can drop a YouTube comment. You can tweet us.
That helps us out.
Roots to Grooves. Follow us on Instagram, Roots to Grooves. Roots to Grooves.com for every episode audio for free forever.
For you.
Go listen to it. Yeah. And we're going to kick out tonight with this track from Deceiver, from DIIV, Like Before You Were Born.
Roots to Grooves is a production of Signl Radio. For more music and independent culture, visit signalradio.com. That's signl radio.com.